Hello to everybody. My name is Aisha G, and welcome to my show, Sure Speak. I chose that name because anybody can call and make a comment or a suggestion or even give advice as long as we're all speaking respectful to each other, no matter what the conversation is about. So today is my first podcast. I am very excited. So I'm not sure which niche I exactly want to go into, but I will be speaking from real life events as well as events in the news and things that's coming up in the near future. I do want to start off my podcast with giving a small dose of history of what happened on this particular day. So I am getting this from the Britannica. If you guys don't know, that is an encyclopedia company. And now that everything is on the computers, you can certainly go on there, type up Britannica, and get those same Britannica encyclopedias that you would in book form right here online. So today is July 6th, 2020. Some things that happened on July 6th. On July 6th, 1957, Althea Gibson became the first black tennis player to win the Wimbledon Singles Championship. It was one of many history making moments for the Harlem raised Gibson. The previous year, she had become the first black player to win the Grand Slam title, the French Open, and she later was the first black player to be ranked number one. We take a closer look at her incredible life as well as other trailblazing African American athletes. Shout out to Althea Gibson. So, it doesn't look like much happened on today, but that is one of the good things that happened. Uh, and along with other athletes like Jackie Robinson, Jack Johnson, who was a boxer, if you didn't know. Jackie Robinson, of course, was a baseball player. So that is just one of the things that happened on this day in history. Now, I just want to throw one quick question out there and just see if you guys know the answer. And this question is going to be about uh, literary, okay? Let's go with literary. The author of Lord of the Flies, I'm sorry, let's start that over. The author of Lord of the Flies won the Nobel Peace Prize for literature in 1983 for his parables of the human condition, who is Salman Rushdie, V.S. Naipaul, William Golding, Seamus Heaney. So if anyone has the answer to that, feel free to leave it. I'd like to know. All right, so let's get into what I want to podcast about. Today, my first podcast is about guilty pleasures. We all experience some form of a guilty pleasure, whether it's something we eat, whether it's something we want, whether it's something we need to do, want to do, whatever it is. We all experience guilty pleasures. One of my guilty pleasures, of course, is eating. Many people probably have that guilty pleasure, but I am one of them for sure. I like to eat. My eating is mainly cakes and sugar. I like sweets. So when I get that fix of whatever it is that I'm craving or that I just feel like I really need to have, then I'm happy, ecstatic. Everything is great. Doesn't matter that I'm overweight, doesn't matter that I got high blood pressure. None of that matters at the moment. The only thing that matters is that I have this great whatever it is I have, whether it's a meal, a milkshake, a piece of cake, whatever it is that I have. I'm just happy. I'm happy while I'm eating it. And I'm happy for a few minutes after it's gone. But 10 minutes after it's gone, I'm disgusted. I'm upset with myself. I'm asking, why did you eat that? And you know you shouldn't have. I mean, I'm really going through the ringer. So I try to find some kind of a way that when I do eat snacks that I'm not supposed to have, or eat dinner that I eat, because I love steak. So I eat a lot of beef. So now that I know that I eat a lot of beef, I tried to cut down on it so I can only have beef once a week. Once a week. And if that doesn't work, then I'll go to once every 2 weeks. But for now, it's just once a week. The sweets I have completely cut out because I don't know how to act. You can't give me a once a week option with sweets. I'm going to eat sweets. I like sugar. So I cut the sweets out completely. And now I'm trying to work out and do exercise in place of me going out getting those things that I know are just making me have pleasure for the moment. So there's that. Another one of my guilty pleasures is smoking cigarettes. Bad one. Very, 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 very bad one. But it is one of mine. And it's funny because initially I used to go outside and sneak around and smoke so my family didn't know I was smoking and everything. And then it became so strong of an addiction and something I had to have that it was just like, hey, I'm smoking a cigarette, you know? Um, of course, that's not good in any shape, form, or fashion for me, my body, my heart, just my health in general. It's not good. But honestly, I haven't found a way to break that one yet. I'm still looking for it. But guilty pleasures are part of being human. Temptation, we are definitely going to want things that we cannot have. And sometimes we know or we shouldn't have. Maybe we can have it, but we shouldn't have it. And so right now I'm just trying to come up with different ways that I would be able to make, say for instance, how I'm doing exercise instead of my sweets. So every time I think I want to get something sweet, I make myself get up and do some jumping jacks or toe touches or just something. Because I don't like exercising. I'm fat, so I don't like exercising, you know. But if I think every time I go get something sweet, I got to exercise, totally cutting it out. Totally cutting out the sweets. Because I'm not going to keep exercising. I'll go for a walk or something, but nothing major. I'm just getting to the point where I'm learning to exercise. So my exercise is like a 7-minute workout video, which for me, that is just great. I'm all sweaty and everything afterwards, like I've been working out for 30 minutes. But for me, that's about the best I can do right now. Not to say in the future I won't be able to do more, but right now that is the best I can do. So those are two of my guilty pleasures. One, I have kind of figured out how to manipulate it to where I'm not so bad with it as I was in the beginning. I've definitely slowed down since then. But the second one, the cigarette smoking, I have not figured out a way to conquer that. And to be honest, I haven't thought of a lot of ways to conquer it either because that is, for me, my cool down moment. And I don't want to take that away. I'm sure I need to find another way to do it, but I don't want to take that away. So that for me is one of my guilty pleasures that I haven't quite found a way to deal with, but I will begin to look for a way. So I'm sure everybody out there has a guilty pleasure or some guilty pleasures. It would be interesting if someone would leave me a comment about their guilty pleasure. And if it's a good one, then I will read it on the next podcast that I do and let people know whether it's funny, serious, or whatever it may be. I will read it to, let somebody else know. You never know. Somebody else may be out there dealing with the same thing, right? So even our superstars, people that we watch on TV or that we adore and admire and things like that, they definitely experience the guilty pleasure role. One of my favorite people, which is Betty White. I love her from the Golden Girls, if anybody out there knows that show. Thank you for being a friend. Yeah, that's my jam. But anywho, Betty White, She says she does not eat a proper diet. Lunch is usually a hot dog and french fries or something equally devilish. Red whips are my curse. And that was an interview she did back in April 2014, and that was with Bon Appetit. We also have Taraji P. Henson, which is the lead role Cookie on Empire, as well as she's done many other things. And Taraji says her guilty pleasure is watching ratchet television, like any of the Real Housewives shows, especially when they are fighting and a girl got her hair weave snatched out. That is my guilty pleasure. Sometimes I'll just sit in front of the TV screaming, Ratchet, Ratchet, Ratchet. Where's the Ratchet TV? And that was an interview she did September 2014, and that was with Ebony Magazine. And what about somebody like Martha Stewart? Martha Stewart says that her guilty pleasure is not at all interesting. It's a spoonful of really good organic peanut butter or a slice of American cheese from my housekeeper's drawer. I steal American cheese slices sometimes. In the plastic is so horrible, but such a good snack. I eat pickled herring as a late night snack before I go to bed because it's savory and good. I like liverwurst and I know how bad it is now. I love squeezing it out of the tube and just eating calves of liverwurst. And that was June of 2017, and she did that interview with Town and Country. And then Oprah Winfrey, which most people know, she is a talk show host from the late 80s, early 90s, I believe. And she says bathing is her hobby. I love creating bathing experiences, bath gels, bubbles, crystals, salts, lavender milks. I go to prune. I go way prune. I've gone to sleep. And that was an interview she did October 2012 with Harper's Bazaar. Gwyneth Paltrow, my one light American spirit that I smoke once a week on Saturday night. And she made that comment in May of 2013 with Harper's Bazaar. So if you get what she's saying, my one light American spirit that I smoke once a week on Saturday night. Totally cool. I'm with that. Stoked. Serena Williams, I have the weirdest one. It's property. And she laughs. Yeah, that's really random. I don't sell a lot, and when I do, I regret it. Ugh, I'm still regretting that one I sell. That one I sell, but it was on the water in Florida. What was I thinking? And she did that interview in July of 2017 with Kneading Dough. How about Beyonce's sister Solange? Now, this is from an interview January 2017, and it must have been done with a magazine called The Interview. But I'm reading all of this from a magazine called The Cut. Okay, on what makes her laugh the hardest, The Real Housewives of Atlanta, hands down. I watch it religiously, and I am in stitches the whole time. I was just having a conversation with someone about The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I was saying how I love that show, and I think it's so brilliant because it's the women that was represented in my childhood in Houston. It makes me feel so at home. And again, I was in January 2017, and I was done with the interview. And Tina Fey, Miss Tina Fey, I love Tina Fey. Always have some good skits. Every movie she's in is pretty good. I cannot complain about Miss Tina Fey. Tina Fey says, I was on maternity leave for about 9 days. You watch different stuff because you're nursing in the middle of the night and you watch Extreme Couponing and Cake Boss. You know your maternity leave is about to end when you're like, oh, I've seen this Cake Boss. I'm a little worried about the Real Housewives franchise. I don't want them to fight all the time. I just want to see their warehouses. Rock Center with Brian Williams. And I believe that was November of 2011. So everybody has to deal with guilty pleasures. No matter what the guilty pleasure is, you definitely have to deal with it. Even my girl Maya Angelou, I almost forgot about her. Her says that on the hardest thing to moderate. It might be cream and butter. It might be wine. I do like wine a lot. My New York friends are so sophisticated. They said I couldn't have a wine cellar because I didn't have a basement. So I built a little house outside near the greenhouse, and I call it the West. I call it the West Wine Wing, and she laughs. And that was an interview from February of 2011 with Time Out. And there are several others who are telling us about their guilty pleasures and how they deal with that, or how it makes them feel. Obviously, if it's a guilty pleasure, it should make you feel good, hopefully, at least for the moment that you're in. Well, that is my first podcast, which is 15 minutes. They will become longer as I get the hang of things a little more better. I do appreciate you guys listening, and I hope the content holds you over until next week when I post another podcast on Short Speak. Again, my name is Aisha G. Thanks for listening to me, and have a wonderful, safe day and week. Thank you.